Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. Week 3 is upon us, and it's got some highs and some lows. But overall, it's been a tremendous start to the NFL season.
We should do that.
To
Make
carry our success.
Kind of a histogram of the highs and lows as we go through it, because it starts low.
It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster for sure.
Yes, I am Andy Molitor, and he is the last of the famous international playboys. Dinzik. I've had that song in my head all afternoon. No reason whatsoever. And we're going to do some football today.
I love it, man. Overall, like, Morrissey and the death of the Queen, is that affecting you? No, in seriousness. The general feel so far on.
I am happy to have an Irish coworker, because he was able to explain like that whole dynamic.
Oh,
like,
sure.
Jesus, I'm seeing like these TikToks. I don't think the Irish people liked her. He kind of walked me through that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Let me
back to the NFL.
Through 2 weeks. Is there anything so far that you feel like you have gotten completely blindsided by in the NFL to this point?
I guess we should have seen it coming a little with Cincinnati, just facing the pass rushers that they did, and people preparing for what made them successful at the end of the year. I have been wildly surprised at how poor the offenses have been for Denver.
Honestly,
everyone. I brought that up in the chat. I said I'd like to look at the average EPA per play of the offenses through 2 weeks last year, the year before, and then compare it. I feel like, and totals are down. So I mean, it's when I go look at it, we're going to see there's going to be a bump down compared to last year. But overall, just a couple of teams, especially like Denver, I expected them to. I don't know what I expected. It's tough with a new coach, but he came from a place that had some fun offensive schemes. I haven't seen that. We weren't high on Matt Canada, but I didn't think it would get this bad. I'm very surprised at how poor that's been. And then, I don't know, maybe Wentz being halfway serviceable.
Yeah.
Tua has been a nice surprise if you like Miami. Mostly just in general, like there's been like 7 offenses that I'm downgrading more. Usually it's kind of like a stasis, and it's not a zero-sum game, but I feel like in general, on average, if you go through like a 4-week sample, I've probably downgraded as many offenses as I've upgraded. That is not the case in these 2 weeks. I have downgraded 2 to 1. At least a factor of 2 as far as how many offenses I've downgraded compared to ones name me some offenses you've upgraded. Atlanta slightly.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. Jags a little. Eagles. I had Eagles. I was low on Ravens. I've had to upgrade them.
Yep, but I could name like 12 teams I've had to downgrade. Yeah. It's been as much as we talk about like, oh, Rod, nice league, Roger, and as they make these rules for offenses, and it's not the rules, it's not the state of the league. Honestly, it's some of these offensive coordinators. I mean, they are embarrassing themselves as they just piss their pants on national TV week in, week out right now. Matt Canada, go Hackett. You can go. Everybody who lives in Seattle, go.
This is crazy because we're not that many years removed from totals like creeping up to 51. And the total average points scored through 2 weeks is less than 43 per game right now, which is paltry. There's been no weather. There really is no excuse for this. There's been some injuries, but not enough to account for this big of a disconnect between scoring and expectation. We came into the season, the average total for a game across the season-long stuff from Superbook was 46, and we're averaging 42.8 or something. It's weird. I would certainly expect from this point forward, there should be some correction to the good offensively. Maybe like at some point things are gonna gel, click, something. Because if you look at the last handful of drafts, there's been a ton of good young offensive players that have entered the league, not just quarterbacks, but wide receivers, tight ends, linemen, and not a ton of like especially standout players defensively. Micah Parsons is kind of the only guy that comes to mind. So it's the balance should be shifting to good offense, and we're just not seeing
defensive backs who they have high hopes for eventually, and like a lot of the actual edge rushers. It seems like there hasn't been a guy that popped off. Parsons wasn't really drafted as an edge rusher.
Sure.
It was odd that's how it turned out. And honestly, he's all over the field. But yeah, some of the guys, the true edge rushers that have been drafted, some of the linebackers that have been drafted have not really. I mean, just think about basically anyone Arizona drafted for like 3 years hasn't panned out. Yeah. Some of the linebackers we've seen, even up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I would also. The only explanation that I can entertain at all for why we're seeing what we're seeing, because there's been, similarly a ton of just guys on the injury report, which we don't usually see this early in the season if it's not something serious. There's a realistic possibility that league wide, there's more of a sentiment of treating this like an extended preseason still.
Yeah, Ben Verone in the chat here is kind of pointing out a lot of quarterbacks playing.
A lot did, yeah.
Bupkis in the preseason, only having 3 preseason games. And not only that, but we've seen it for 15 years.
Yeah.
The most successful franchise of this millennium has treated the first 3 or 4 weeks like a preseason, got things figured out, and then gone on and, made the playoffs, won a bunch of Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not what you should be doing. It's a copycat league. You can't copy everything. It's hard to copy that because you can't just copy that and automatically get to play the AFC East every year too.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work if you're in the AFC West. So
I would also one other thing that I would like your opinion on. Extended preseason feel is real, I think. Rust, all that shit. But is there a potentially like the impact of the cover 2 shell, like the taking away the home runs,
taking away the deep shots,
and forcing everyone to operate within structure, within kind of a more methodical general vibe about offense, and not really seeing because we saw so much of that defense last year. I kind of assumed a lot of offensive minds were going to come into this season with some ideas about how to bust that, but we're not seeing that at all. Am I crazy?
Yeah, not really. Like
everybody's just running McVay shit.
The only way to really beat just hot, nasty speed, and not everybody has reek. Honestly, they have 2 crazy fast receivers. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see as we go what the good offensive coordinators do to kind of break out of this. But it is always I always bring up the Wildcat because it was such a microcosm of like how the league actually works because it happened so fast. Like that was like 4 games, like, hey, here's the Wildcat. And oh my God, they killed us with this. And then, 2 games later, it's like, well, here's what you solved. It's not, we solved it.
It turns out he's not going to throw it. Just go tackle him.
Basically, he'll never throw it. You don't have to worry about that. Or even RPOs. Like RPOs aren't solved, but defenses have adjusted to it. It's always a chess match, and sometimes it just takes longer. It takes longer for one side to solve.
In the spirit of a chess match, let's break down Thursday Night Football, where we have 2 of the grandmasters.
I thought
Jacoby
you were going
Brissett. That story cannot get enough of that. Holy shit! Count me on. I believe that there is a
100%.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There is cheating going on. Sincerely. Let's talk about the Grandmasters, Mitch Trubisky versus Jacoby Brissett in Cleveland in nasty weather on a short week. A Steelers team whose defense has been on the field for a million minutes in 2 through 2 games and has suffered massive, meaningful injuries already. This is largely influenced a move in favor of the Browns, in my opinion. This is kind of people still saying that the Steelers defense has not been properly downgraded in the absence of their most important piece. This total, on the other hand, is down to 38.5, not because the defenses are going to expected to show out here, but because this weather is going to be a factor. We are going to see 15 to 20 mile an hour winds, 35 mile an hour gusts. If there's one stadium in the NFL where wind tends to be accentuated in terms of impact on scoring, it's here. So this is going to be a pretty wild, pretty gross one. I haven't made any play on this game. I don't think I'm going to play it until halftime, if then. What is your read on the Steelers and the Brownies?
I mean, for sure, this total probably deserved to come down without the weather. Just
probably
just
because the offenses.
The Steelers' offense is really, really poor. And the Browns have proven, even with their good run game, to be kind of a slower, plodding offense. You put up a bunch on the Jets, but this is a tougher test too. Like, I get this total being at 40, and then, yes, it's going to drop. And so the stadium doesn't sit like east-west, where you'd get the crosswinds. But the winds in Cleveland, if they're coming off the lake, it is sitting like if they're coming off the lake, it's just going to be straight crosswinds, which can be nasty if it gets to be. I mean, go back and watch that Raiders-Browns game from a couple years ago. So
there's one every year.
Yeah. Don't go watch it. It's horrible. Horrible. And, instead, go hit the thumbs up button. That would be much better. That would make me much happier. But yeah, this total is crazy low. But I'm not betting it over just out of principle or anything. That the wind is high. Mitch Trubisky has proven that he's not willing to do much risky stuff. I worry about him, like where his head is at. If he's like, this is my last chance, I just can't screw it up. Like, I don't know if he feels, because he seems like he's very much not willing to make risky plays. And I don't know if that's something, I've lost a job before. I was a backup. I want to be a starter again. And he's just really risk averse now. And I looked at it, and then I watched a little of the last two games, and it's like, it might just be Matt Canada's offense. It's just, this is what they're calling. They're not very creative.
The offensive line is so bad that it's not like if you were running the most creative system of all time, it was going to make that much of a difference, would it?
So, yeah, it's not creative. They have a bad offensive line. They have a poor quarterback. Their running back is dinged up, and they've been put in the kind of game states where they're not down by a bunch, or even in the first game they were leading. They're in a game state where slow offense isn't going to be the end of you. So this is going to be horrible. This is a horrible, horrible game. Like, we always complain about the Jags-Titans Thursday night games. This could eclipse anything we've seen in the mustard yellow fucking color rush games. I'm not betting this. I hate to lean Browns, but what about because it's a road divisional favorite? Like, what world am I betting that?
No. It's in Cleveland.
But
it's in Cleveland.
They clearly are a much better team on offense, even with Jacoby Brissett.
Sure.
Like this is a very good defense in Cleveland. Granted, it's on the road, or excuse me, it's at home.
Yeah, it's in Cleveland. So
yeah, it is. It is in Cleveland. Never mind. Sorry,
I gotta plant a seed for halftime for our halftime discussion tomorrow. Coming into this season, one of my theses about the Browns was that this was a team that was going to be able to protect the lead. They have an elite pass rush and good secondary, I thought. Yet Joe Flacco just had them. How did that happen? And does that change the underlying, kind of if this, then this kind of expectation for the Browns?
I'm gonna have to ban Dan from the chat because he stole my joke while I was waiting for you to finish. Say your theses is feces, but feces okay. That is the worst part about that game was, it was poorly coached. Like, I get in the moment, it's so hard to, make things like that happen where, hey, you need to go down, not score a touchdown because we can just run the clock out. But that, you have to be aware of that as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator, if you got a guy upstairs who's running analytics, like even him, he should be keeping an eye on these sort of things. Like, that needs to be said. We've seen this happen in the past. It's very rare, but sometimes scoring is the worst thing you can do. And Chunt. We're not doing Chunt again. I forgot about Chunt from last year, but yeah, they lost the game, and it took some improbable events, and it took Joe Flacco turning back the clock. I don't think that's going to happen often. Honestly, right now, Joe Flacco looks better than Mitch Trubisky. I don't see the Steelers doing any of that to this defense. We'll see if they're healthy. There's been a few injuries, and it is a short week. Not that God, who's the young passer? No, he's not that young anymore.
Miles Garrett.
No. The one that's actually out. I have it written down here.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney. Like
Clowney's got a shoulder.
I'm not even sure that matters. Like, he's out already, but Garrett had a neck injury, and then they had another backup defensive lineman that was dinged up. So got lean Browns, but this is probably a game I kind of want to stay away from.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving then to Sunday, where we have Baltimore versus the Patriots. Do you want to tee this one up?
Baltimore looked really good on offense at times, right? Did we it's funny how we got that thrown back in our face a little. Where is this one? It's at 43.5 right now. We got that. We said, hey, I wonder if Lamar is like not going to run the ball because his agent's telling him to not get hurt.
That was a good concept, I thought.
It was a good concept. It didn't really stick, but he looked very good. I think this defense is shaping up faster than we thought for the Patriots, but it is another one of those teams where I'm just dead set on, hey, I had this offense set pretty low because they didn't have much of an offense, much of a wide receiver room. They didn't ask much of Mac Jones last year, and then the absolute laugher of what they decided to do at offensive coordinator. So I had them fairly low, but I've actually downgraded them a little more even. So it's been a tough hang watching this Patriots offense. Essentially, they had one, and it was a decent throw, and it was a good adjustment by Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
But that, and then their other touchdown was a 10-yard drive on a muffed punt. They didn't do much on offense in that win. They got the win. They got the cover. They did not cover the teaser leg, and that game stayed under. That's where I was at with that one. I was in love with how bad those offenses were. What beat the Ravens? Hot, nasty speed over the top and a big arm. That's not what you have with New England.
Yeah.
I mean, Mac doesn't have a bad arm. I
like Mac's arm better than Tua's. I mean, Tua throws an okay ball, but doesn't have velocity. It's not a home run ball. No,
you're still watching Tyreek stop and come back for them.
Yeah, right.
That's the thing. Like, even if you have a strong arm, they don't have a true deep threat, I guess. So I'm not terribly worried about them doing much against this offense, but against this defense. I'm just stuck on what the Ravens did and if they'll be able to do this against this defense. And this is another low total and kind of an issue game too.
Not as low as it was.
No,
see what happened on Monday. So from Sunday to Monday, this got bet down from 44 to 41 and then back up to 44. And it's sitting at 43.5 right now. That is a pretty violent up and down for this total to be going on. I would point the total action to the good was probably people who were upgrading Baltimore and who were down offense and downgrading Baltimore's defense, considering secondary injuries. The side has been a push-pull on price at 3 until today. Pictures surfaced and speculation was bubbling about Lamar Jackson's elbow injury from Sunday, and that finally tipped the balance and people got what they want. It's now New England 2.5. It's still very juicy if you want to lay the 2.5 with the Baltimore Ravens, which I think is a fair play, but not one I'm like in love with anymore, considering how the injuries have developed. I thought this week the news was going to come in a different direction, and it was going to be more and more positive for the Ravens as the week went on. But this not good if Lamar Jackson's elbow is bothering him and he is not getting reps in practice. Because otherwise, I do think you saw some really positive signs in that game against the Miami Dolphins. You brought up the key point in my mind, which is speed kills this Ravens defense, and the Patriots do not have it. And I think if the Patriots come in and try to be physical and do the run game and try to get this done the hard way, they're going to have a tough test on their hands, because Baltimore still does have some elite, quarterback play at, if Lamar is 100%, which remains to be seen.
That's what's completely. Two things have scared me off this. I want to bet the Ravens, and despite what we saw last week, I do believe they're a good team with the lead. Because again, there's what maybe three teams in the whole league that could muster the kind of offense we saw from Miami, and Miami's the worst of the three. I mean, it's probably Kansas City and Buffalo going over the top and getting nasty with it. I don't, despite what we saw, I like them as a front runner. If they have a lead, I love their offense to just hold on to the ball. Miami did a great job. Like I don't think it's on so much on the Ravens. That loss is really what Miami did. The coaching, the scheming, and just what they adjusted for the second half with. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on with that team. But part of the reason we bet Miami was multiple cornerback injuries, and not everything there. It's not like they're all magically healed right now. They're still dealing with injuries in the secondary. So that's a problem, because one of their, a weakness of New England is the passing offense. And if they're going to have an easier time, that's bad. And then also Lamar Jackson didn't even throw the ball today because his arm was in his sleeve and he's maybe injured. In what world am I betting on that, where your quarterback is maybe hurt and your secondary is still dinged up?
Yeah, not good.
I can't really make a case for the Patriots.
Yeah. And
also there is a angle around a Patriots teaser.
Yeah.
It's a home teaser. I don't hate it because the total's low, but again, I'm pretty nervous if the Patriots are down 10.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
It's hard for them to get into comeback mode, I think.
Jacoby Myers also is a question mark. You got more pieces potentially missing there. This could be an awful game at the end of the day. Final question for you. Who has the coaching advantage?
Overall staff, Ravens.
Yeah.
Which is
in general, Harbaugh has had it. He's had Belichick's number for a while.
Yeah,
Belichick surely. Belichick's fastball is so slow right now that we are worried about him going on and getting Tommy John. Like those are the stats we're looking at for Belichick's fastball right now.
Like he may need to just transition to a knuckleball pitcher.
Yes, he's at that stage in my mind. If Belichick comes out with the all-world game plan and the offense finally wakes the fuck up, then I'll take my loss. But I laid the points with the Ravens. Don't love it. Not my favorite look of the week, but I'm holding on to that one.
I'm assuming you laid it before we had the Lamar news today.
-3 +100, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully for your sake and for the league, I hate to see quarterbacks get injured.
Yes.
Hopefully Lamar is just taking it easy on that arm.
Precautionary, hopefully. I'll set the table for the game of the morning.
I'll blow the whistle.
Two teams that are undefeated are going head-to-head in division. And it is our beautiful Bills up against the magnificent Miami Dolphins. Got to choose a son here. These teams have already made me a decent amount of money on the young season. I would like to pick sides, but I will abstain at this time. I don't have an edge on this game. I thought this was going to open up in the 4.5, 5.5 range after Monday Night Football. It opened up and got bet out to 6.5. That is a big old number. You can find some juicy 6s out there, but it's a big number for a road team. If you believe, and what's funny, I think what this game best illustrates, because I'm telling you 6 is reasonably fair. What that illustrates to me that is interesting is that the Dolphins might be the third best team in the AFC, and they are 6-point dogs at home to the Buffalo Bills. And that is fair. that is unbelievable. I have
the numbers. Yeah. I have it too big.
Bills on a short week as well.
And that's why I think if this was neutral rest and also, so if this was neutral rest in November, this is a fair number.
Yeah.
But it's still early season swamp ass Miami.
Yeah.
It is still a short week for the Bills. This is too big.
Yeah,
I'd make this like 5.5, maybe even less. I'm still not betting them.
Yeah, Christopher.
Again, the Bills are not a team that like when they play with it, when they have an 8-point lead, they just let's feed Zach Moss.
Yeah.
They are just, it's the same offense no matter what the game state is. It's wild. It's like they don't know what the score is ever. They just run the same, which is probably, honestly, that's probably best case scenario for any team. Hey, let's just do what we do best all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, at certain points, what they do best is take Josh Allen out because the score was so hilarious. I don't know if we see a beatdown like that, but they are a front runner team where, oh no, we're down by 3 scores. You're not getting inside that number now because every touchdown you score, they're going to score like 0.8 touchdowns. It seems like they just go knock for knock when you start getting into comeback mode because they're not just, oh, let's take 4 minutes off the clock,
right.
Get 2 first downs and punt it back to them.
Let's go do a touchdown drive. Again. Another touchdown drive. Ready to go.
So it is. If this gets to 7, I might just have to do it, which sucks.
Wow. Okay.
But 7's too much, right? It is.
Yeah, it's too big. Christopher Davis has asked, are the Bills ready for the Miami Heat? I would make the Bills minus 42-ish over the Miami Heat.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler on Diggs, that's not going to work.
I mean, they could. They would put up a better fight than the Titans, right? It depends on I guess if Jimmy is healthy or not. No, realistically, the heat is going to be a factor, I'm sure, but the weather also is driving this total down. We got
a hurricane coming through Bermuda right now. Like, I wonder if you can start.
It's going to be tropical depression crap. Yeah, I think I think what I am seeing from the most reliable weather sources says first half should be dry, second half is going to be a little sloppy. I don't know about the wind necessarily, but usually with just tropical depressions, winds come with the rain, and the rain tends to be pretty aggressive. And it may not be as big of a deal, the heat, because they won't be in the sun, but it could get sloppy, which is pushing this total down. I saw this was 54 and a half at the high point. It's been bet across 53. It doesn't look like it's going to get to 51. 51 is kind of the only key in this range in my mind. Team totals.
If it does take some stupid money to the under once limits are up now here at this point in the week, I'm going to monitor the weather closer than I normally would, because if I can get a clean bill of health on like 51, that's a very good play to the over.
Yeah, it is. One other interesting wrinkle,
especially again, if it's raining, I don't give a shit. If it's raining with light wind, 51 will be too low. So I'm looking for a 7. I'm looking for a 51 with winds that are reasonable. But for now,
if you're going to bet this game in game, number 1, you need to know what's going on with the weather in the second half. Mm-hmm. Number 2, McDaniel is running the most innovative stuff going right now. You go look at Dr. Eager's principal components of offense chart. Mm-hmm. He stands alone. Everybody else is copying in some way, shape, or form McVay, or they're running 1990s NFL garbage.
Blame Canada.
Yeah. So McDaniel, last year the Buffalo Bills and Les Frazier defensively had just an absolute A+ game plan to shut down what Miami wanted to do. Like, they embarrassed them. I think one game, Tua got hurt, and it was a Brissett show, but they got shut out, I think. And in the second game, they scored like 11, and that was all Tua. So they had the recipe for how they wanted to stop the old Miami. I don't know that they have enough time on a short week to figure out how to change and tweak their defense to defend Miami this week. And in particular, Les Frazier is not an in-game adjustment guy that I think he does look like pizza.
He looks like Pizzola. Which he's not going to for much longer, because he's going to get some sun down there in Miami, and Pizzola hasn't touched grass in a long time.
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, like if McDaniel,
it's winter in Canada.
If McDaniel has a plan that is working against what Les Frazier wants to do defensively, I don't see that stopping in game. Right.
No, so and again,
yeah.
What we touched on when we were starting to talk about the Baltimore game, second half adjustments. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
He's a smart cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
Miami second half blindly. We're not even going to do a show.
Kind of feels like it.
Oh, it's not a primetime game. Never.
Especially because of the Bills now 2 games in a row just absolutely murking their opponents in the second half of primetime games. You're probably going to get a pretty favorable second half Miami price. Let's move on to a game I did bet. And the market is with me at long last. This is one of my few market winners of the early part of the week. Which
do tell, because I've bet this game overall. And we did not talk about this game.
I laid it with the Bengals. This is it. This is it. Fool's gold. The Jets got that win last week.
What price you get?
I sold 5.5.
It's going to be a 4 or 5. I was going to say I sold the 5 minus.
I sold it to 5.5. I will tell you what I bet it. I sold it to 5.5 because the dead zone doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah. I think they win by a touchdown.
I didn't love the price at 5.5. For some reason, the juice wasn't sitting well with my brain, even though it's not it's not an important move. But this is funny. We haven't talked a ton this week.
I'm at 5.5 plus 101.
Yeah, I'm at 5 minus 05. We both independently bet this. We both sold, and I mean, you start. Let's hear why you're betting against the hottest quarterback in the Meadowlands at home.
Yeah,
coming off a crazy win against the coldest team. Regression, growth. Ugh.
Yeah.
What do your numbers make this just real quick? Like 7.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I bet it. That's why I sold it. Some of the things that have really, really, really given the Bengals a hard time to this point in this deal, because the Bengals week 1 loss, I hang entirely on rust. Their week 2 loss, I think they took their opponent a little lightly, and their opponent came to play. The Dallas Cowboys, make no mistake, they gave you a 95th to 99th percentile effort in that game on Sunday. That was their second home game in a row. Didn't want to go down 0-2, blah, 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 blah. That was a good performance by Dallas. Cincinnati is still kind of sleepwalking a little bit, but 0-2 is a great way to wake the fuck up. And they get a very decent opponent to do that. The Jets, in my opinion, Flacco is not the second coming of the late career surge that we have seen from other quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he is who he thinks he is, and he had a great game on Sunday. Congratulations! I think the next games and the next game that we see him before Wilson comes back are probably bet against spots. A lot of those young players, feeling themselves after a big comeback win against the Browns, can't expect them to come back with the same focus in terms of preparation this week. Meanwhile, the Bengals in general, there are easy, straightforward things for them to fix. If they don't get it fixed, then last time I bet these guys for a while, in general, Zach Taylor is the root of most of the problems that I see with the Bengals, but Joe Burrow deserves a ton of the blame. He is holding onto the ball for far too long. The Jets off D-line in general, their pass rush in general doesn't scare me as much as what Micah Parsons brought to the table, as much as what TJ Watt brought to the table. If the Jets somehow sign the ghost of TJ Watt, then I will change my opinion. But I don't think the pass rush is going to be as disruptive in this game. And the biggest mismatch of all, Jamar Chase, that wide receiver core against the Jets secondary that can be beat the fuck up. The Jets secondary has not been tested this year. You've seen them face Baltimore and you've seen them face Cleveland. You know what those two teams lack? Anyone out in terms of depth at the receiver targeting who has quality. And so the fact that the Bengals are bringing in some dynamic weapons in the passing game, I think is going to be the differentiating factor here. I think they win with margin.
Yeah, I mean, you've said most of what my argument is. I bet this as well. And really, the biggest thing was, we saw TJ Watt and the rest of that, that front seven. That's tough. And it wasn't all just the offensive line. He ran into some sacks. He held the ball too long. Joe Burrow has to know this. He's a smart cat. He's made adjustments before, but that's a nasty little 3-4. Yeah, Cameron Hayward too. Like that. Maybe he doesn't get enough. Maybe he will now because of the fact that he's the guy. But same thing with Dallas. You got a bunch of decent players up front, and then you got Micah Parsons anchoring the whole thing, and that's scary. And now we run into a Jets team who is 29th or 30th, I can't remember, in the league in pass rush win rate, just individually. So you're going from some top, like your main weakness is your offensive line and your quarterback running into sacks. Now you're going against a pass rush that is bottom 3 in the league at win rate up front. You're going up against a secondary who can absolutely be beat. You have a really good 1-2-3 at wide receiver, and you know what's wrong. And you're in, this is really qualitative, but it happens. Like, this is the same in the NBA, and we joke about this in the NBA chat. Like, well, they don't want to go 0-3. They don't want to go down 0-2, but you do see teams play differently when they are down 0-2 in a playoff series. The rotations are different. They're going to be forces
you to use something in your. You have to self scout.
It's almost like the thing we talk about with these teams that have been good for a year or two, really good, like gone to the playoffs, gone to the Super Bowl. We say, like, hey, do they not want to put everything on film because they know, like, I'm going to be a top 3 seed. I might see this team again in the playoffs. We don't need to put it all on film. We don't need to leave it all out there. It's the opposite of that. You can't fucking worry about that when you're 0-2. You're bringing the good playbook, and this offense should be just fine against the Jets. And yeah, I laid the 5 here. I'm excited for this team to get back on the right track. At Foley at the toll. So, yeah, and again, it's not a scary unless Mark Gastineau walks through that door. God, he's got to be 55 at this point. Is he even alive? How old's that guy? That's the only. Name me another good Jets pass rusher.
Oh, Bart
Wilkerson played there a couple years, didn't he?
Bart Scott was okay.
Bart Scott, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah,
can't wait.
No problem. Mark Gastineau is a real throwback. Most of the people listening probably don't even know who that is.
Go look him up.
Mark
Gastineau.
Gastineau.
Very good.
He was sort of the poster child for. I guess we should start drug testing in the NFL.
Or just go watch the program.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it. It's Lattimore. Yep. All right, let's move on to New Orleans.
John Abraham, good call.
Couldn't make a play here. We have a Saints -3 right now. You had a feeling that the market was ready to dump all existing stock in the Panthers after that sad state of affairs performance last week against the sad state of affairs Giants. Not even being able to really get to 20 points in that game was pathetic. And so seeing a 2.5 earlier this week, even with the injury question swirling, it was like, close. I mean, it's going to go to 3. Should we just play it? Fuck it. Fuck the Saints. Fuck the Panthers. Fuck this game.
I'm still close to betting this. And again, if I get good Kamara news, if I see Jameis is full go at practice, his back's feeling fine, if I see a few other things trending the right way, and it's still a reasonable 3, I'm going to think about this.
Yeah.
Because the only things that you could possibly I could see this sad Sacramento offense doing is, Christian McCaffrey's good, but I would just, if I'm the Saints defense, and it's a good defense, it held, it's a different kind of Tampa offense, but it still held them scoreless for 2.5 quarters. It was really playing well, giving the offense every chance to get in that game. That just, hey, we're a really good defense, but the other team is better than us at defense. This sucks. So we can't score. Yeah. It is a really good defense against a shitty offense. I would just absolutely game plan to try to take away Christian McCaffrey to, mitigate him. You can never take him away. He's one of the best players in the league, but mitigate the damage he does and say, Baker Mayfield, beat me over the top on the outside. Beat me deep on the outside with these receivers. Have fun with that because he's not going to. I think if the Saints offense is healthy and fine, they win this game by more than 3, even on the road here in a divisional game. This was the game I was alluding to this has been in my head for 2 days. Betting a divisional favorite on the road with injuries. That's why I don't have it in my card yet.
Yeah.
I'm close. I just haven't done it yet.
I am a little. I mean, I think you could probably ask a lot of sharp people who watch that Saints Bucks game and get opinions all over the place. I can't look at it objectively because I had Bucks in that one. because everything that went wrong for the
second half too.
Everything that went wrong for the Bucs in that game, I was literally like, they should be up fucking 10. What is going on here? This is bullshit. And
I mean, those both things can be true though.
Yeah,
the Bucs were clearly the better team, but the Saints defense did play well.
Yeah, right. Yes, they did. And they have talented players. I thought they certainly, you know what? They certainly played a lot better than they played against the Falcons. I'll tell you that much. I was like, whoa. This is not the defense that I signed up to be anything involved in the betting market before the season.
The secondaries lived up. The secondaries lived up.
Lattimore is fucking awesome. And if Lattimore if he wipes DJ Moore off the face of this game, then Panthers aren't getting to 20 points. And as we know, a Matt Rule team is not getting to, they're not defending 20 points in this game. So it's Saints probably win. It's just a matter of by how much at that point. If it's now 3, that seems about right to me. Total of 40.5, super, super freaking low, which is the theme of the totals on the board this week. We're going to probably look back in a little bit of regret that we didn't take some of these overs with these super low totals, because offenses should start clicking eventually. Regression to the good in red zone efficiency eventually, but can't play this over with the Panthers right now. This the Ben McAdoo offense, the Baker Mayfield incompetence, the Matt Rule lame duckness. Everything about this Panthers situation is a problem. I wouldn't be upset if the Panthers won and we give Matt Rule till the end of the season instead of firing him mid-season, because I don't have any Matt Rule first coach fired bets in my queue.
It's like 2-1 right now too. How can you bet that?
So
yeah,
low.
I mean, just the Davenports and Jordan Cameron, Tuttle need to see more up front. Honestly, I feel like I'm gonna have to look up what we have for actual stats. It feels like the run defense has been okay, but it's not like they didn't get after Brady a lot. And I know maybe that was a little
with the weak in the offensive line.
I know, but that was a little bit of a mind fuck too. Despite having a decent depth of target, nobody was going to get pressure on Brady in that game. He was going to make every single pass rush in the league look bad. Go look at how fast they got the ball out on average. Like they just decided to take away the New Orleans pass rush. Tampa Bay is a well-coached, well thought out, schemed, good team with great players and good coaches. They took away the pass rush by just saying we're a fastball out offense. So it doesn't matter what you throw at us. And it worked. Like somebody mentioned, they did drive in the first half. They just had some turnovers, and everything I just said nice about Tampa Bay is the antithetical to Carolina. They're not well coached. They don't have good veteran quarterback play. Like,
is this I agree with that. Here's a fun question for you about this game, since I don't have anything positive to add or anything interesting really to talk about. Is this the lowest power ranked divisional rivalry in all football? Or is it like Titans Jags?
It's got to be like Texans Jags, right?
Texans Jags, that one's pretty low. Yeah. Is this the lowest divisional rivalry in the NFC? Probably. Right. This is the lowest power ranked divisional rivalry.
Honestly, at any given point in the last 20 years, the whole NFC East, they've all had really good teams.
NFC East,
you have to go a little further back for Washington.
All of those are good.
All those are historical rivalries. The NFC North, a lot of historical rivalries. Bears Packers is one of the best ever.
Yeah.
The NFC West, you have
all they have recently all awesome. Yeah.
I think Seattle. It's funny how we talk about the Seattle Super Bowl. Seattle might be the team that's had the longest Super Bowl appearance drought. When was Arizona's?
A little longer.
10. Yeah, Arizona's was a little before
08.
theirs.
Was there 08?
The Steelers game.
10, yeah.
Yeah, that
10,
was
11,
that was like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And Seattle was 13. All those teams have been Super Bowl teams. Yeah, the NFC South. Atlanta went to the Super Bowl.
Atlanta won. Tampa Bay won recently. Saints have won recently. It's Saints Panthers.
Dan's showing us his art again.
This is the lowest power ranked divisional rivalry in all of the NFC. I've decided. Let's move on to a decent NFC divisional rivalry.
You know what? The Lions haven't been good for some time, but there's still been some fun Lions, Vikings, Thanksgiving games. There's been some good games over the years. And the Lions have turned into a fun team. They're a fun offense. They have some young pieces all over the field. They turned into absolute garbage time monsters week 1, and then they actually got it done in week 2. They looked unstoppable in the first half. I was actually getting crazy mad at Washington because that's not how I handicapped that game. I handicapped it as a back and forth game, or my 2 game states most likely was back and forth game. Washington gets out to a lead. Detroit does the comeback thing again, and then 10 miles of shit, and then Detroit leads by like 20 points at half in a shutout. That was not what I thought was going to happen. We still got the over quite easily, but I don't know if it was anything that Detroit did defensively. Washington just kind of looked lost and inept and sleepwalking a little in the first half. They really stepped it up in the second half. This Detroit defense is not good. Like, it can absolutely be shredded.
Bottom 5?
Do things right. Yeah, it's bottom 5. Yeah. Minnesota, this was always a buy low spot for Minnesota. I still didn't do it. Your only good secondary piece is in concussion protocol. Cousins is in a spot where he's throwing horrible balls at time. I don't fully buy into the primetime thing. It just, you know what? A lot of those primetime games were against good teams. It's not Kirk Cousins in primetime. It's Kirk Cousins against teams with a pulse. So maybe this isn't a team with a pulse, but you know what? You know what makes the pulse? The heart. This team's got heart. So I don't know what I make this game. I make this game like 6.5. So
yeah, I'm at 6.5 as well.
I'm not gonna bet it though. I don't trust, and I don't trust what we've seen of Kevin O'Connell yet.
Yeah,
he's not been exciting for anybody here.
I will tell you the reason. I'll tell you the reason why I passed.
A lot of first down runs, buddy.
I'll tell you the reason why I passed, and it's pretty straightforward actually. The Viking. This is a Vikings or pass game. Make no mistake.
Or the over on Sunday. Congrats to anyone who took that 51. You got a good number.
Yeah, you got a great number. Good job. Good job by you. The look ahead was 7. That was a little rich in my mind because it was influenced by how amazing the Vikings did in week 1 against the Packers. And the Lions get an unexpected win. The Vikings look like dog shit in prime time. It reopens under a 6. So this is Vikings or pass. I ultimately passed because I think I kind of agree with you that Kevin O'Connell is trying to operate in a game state where they get a lead and then put the game away like they did against the Packers. I feel like that's what he wants the game arc to look like. But the Lions offense is frisky enough in comeback mode that the back door is wide fucking open, like wide open. And there is kind of a bump in the distribution of outcomes where the Vikings just win this by 3, just like the Eagles did against the Lions, right? Like there's a big kind of real possibility that that's how this goes. And whether that's the Vikings winning by 3 because they have to close the door on the Lions, or the Lions close a double-digit gap and get within 3, couldn't tell you either way. But the Goff backdoor. That's he gets it. It's always going to keep me from laying a big price against these guys, even though their defense is fucking awful. It's so bad.
Honestly,
I don't understand why it's so bad.
Both defenses have been pretty bad. And the highlight of Minnesota's defense is you have 2 good bookend pass rushers, but that's the best part about Detroit is their offensive line is good. So Detroit is able to probably take away the only good part of the Minnesota defense. Detroit scores this game. This over, maybe I regret it. I regret not betting this.
I think we're going to get a live shot on it. We're going to get a live shot on it, I think. I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's one of those things too. If this game is rolling like that and it's like 21-17 at half, I'm still just like, oh, we had a lot of points. I'm still be like, I'll take an over 28.
Let's put it's not going to ultimately win, but for the secret pod play, let's put Vikings team total over in the consideration pile. Okay. How's that sound?
Put a pin in it.
Put a pin in that. Let's move on to KC at Indy. Ultimately, where I think the secret pod team total play is coming from.
And real quick too, Dr. Avatar brings up not the greatest of injury reports coming out of the Motor City.
Yeah.
Some of it was just rest. I think Swift is fine, but there was a few other pieces that were
they've been dinking around with their injury report all season already. 3 weeks in a row, it's been dinky dink.
UNLV, I'm putting this guy on the board just because he's on Twitch. We don't get a lot in the Twitch crowd.
Yeah.
UNLV 94, go running Rebs.
I love it, man.
God, I gotta go for sure today.
I love it. All right. Oh yeah.
Indy KC.
Our guy, Aiden Hutchinson, gonna play?
I think so. Right? Okay. It was that's the weirdest part. It's like, oh, it's just a Charlie horse. He's missing practice though. Okay. That is the longest Charlie horse. Call the Guinness folks.
Yeah, it seems like they're giving him some forced time off.
Smelliest tumor.
Chiefs at Colts. This one is against me. I'm on Chiefs in this one. My handicap is not especially complicated. Pat Mahomes is playing against a Gus Bradley defense. Got anything to add?
Yeah, it's a Gus Bradley defense. But if this got out, I said if this got out to 7, I'd really, really have to take a good hard look at the Colts and probably bet it. And I would hate myself. But it's too much at home for a team if we want to anchor it to last year's priors and where this team should be. And in that scenario, I don't think you get both things. It's like this number gets out to 7, and then Pittman and Leonard both play. Like those two things aren't both happening. So I have a small position on the Chiefs early. I think at 6.5. I thought we were gonna get some 7 and 7.5, and I wanted to honestly middle.
Let me ask you about your decision making. Let me ask you about your decision making. At 0-2, I mean, 0-1-1. At 0-1-1, Colts really playing for a cover here? Points matter for this team now in this state?
No, but nobody's ever playing for a cover. Everyone, they're playing for the win. Like they're going to go down tooth and nail, and 7 is too many. It was just going to be a math play. Like that's way too fucking many points for. I mean, even if you downgrade the piss out of this team, how are we getting them to be 9 points worse on a neutral, indoor stadium at home against a Chiefs team who has? It's not this explosive offense we saw. And really, week 1 was a bit of an aberration. Like that Cardinals defense is horrid, and it was missing extra pieces. Like, goddamn, anybody would have gunned down there and really, really raked on them.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to sit on a small Chiefs position. I'm not happy about it.
All of the market movement on this. Chiefs coming down to 5.5. Total going up to 50.5. By the way, once Pittman gets ruled in, which the market is telling you it's coming, that Pittman is going to play. Once he gets ruled in, this goes over 51, I think. So over 50.5 is still a plus EV play in my mind. I bet some over in this one when the wind started swirling. Key of 51 matters, I think, a little bit. Although, again, Pat Mahomes against Gus Bradley, 42 points is in play. It always is.
Here's an interesting one. I kind of hate this a little with the higher total, but it is in this weird secondary teaser zone where 10 has become higher total games and games in general, modern games, let's call them. 10 has become so much more key, so much more modal. Not the worst teaser leg if you're looking to just throw a bunch of teasers together.
Okay.
Good. I was just murder this guy's name. Ekshesh.
Yeah,
just sounds like I'm saying where the value excess poorly.
Yeah, the sharp.
But this is a spot where the value's on Indy and the sharper bets is KC.
This is the bet. This is the spot, in my opinion, where the points are dead. Chiefs cover with margin, or the Colts show the fuck up and win. There's no the in between. The in between just doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel like it's in the cards.
One of my favorite 80s bands, too.
I would never advocate doing both of those things because you're stupid if you say that. But it still is like, if you like the Colts in this one, I don't know. I think you swing for the higher.
Swing hard.
You swing harder.
Take it straight up.
Yeah. Okay. So Chiefs team total over secret pub play, put it in consideration. Like, what is the because it matters. Shaq Leonard matters. He matters. This Colts defense has been awful.
Pittman matters more. It seems
Pittman matters more, but the Colts defense has been awful so far.
And
some of that
this is half the reason we bet this at 6.5 was Andy Reid has extra time to prepare against a defense that's looked kind of rough. So M. Staley. Stanley. Who's the bad guy in Street Fighter? M. Bison, different guy. The Elf. 0-1 with the Elf. We'll get to Cleveland. Let's move on. Let's move on to Las Vegas at 10-10.
I just want to answer Stanley's question. If you grow your hair longer and it has any kind of waviness or curl to it, it's a 10 hair care miracle product is the best shampoo in the universe, and it will do miracles for you. Not a paid advertisement.
Anything with tea tree oil. Honestly, if my shampoo doesn't smell like mint, I'm not having a good time. Love the smell of mint. It's how everything's like, amplified in the shower. Like the worst place in the world to fart is in the shower.
I don't know that.
It really it's worse than an elevator. It comes back tenfold.
Oh, wow.
Same thing with that good tea tree and mint oil.
All right.
Let's hit Las Vegas at Tennessee. Las Vegas. The Raiders. This is someone's has got to go. Neither of these teams has a win yet. The Raiders shoulda, woulda, coulda. Probably twice. They looked like bumbling, stumbling idiots against the Chargers, and there were openings in that game for them to compete. The Titans, on the other hand, probably very deserving of this record. We joked, and maybe not even joked. We talked in the preseason and the lead up to the season, our preview for Tennessee. We mentioned this team amongst other teams where we said we're putting them in the category of, is this team sabotaging their quarterback by putting this roster together? And granted, they got a pretty good trade for AJ Brown. Like they got a good offer. It's hard to turn that down, but they didn't really do much to backfill. And to their credit, the draft pick has worked out well. Burks is good. Are we dictures in the sour?
I'm laughing about the graphic idea of you about the
coming.
farting in the shower graphic. What team is Andy talking about?
What team were we talking about? Either way, this offense, Derrick Henry might be at the point where it is starting to finally catch up. Yeah. Burks is good, but Tannehill hasn't been. And now you have a missing left tackle. And he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league over the past couple of years. Crosby, etc.
Lawan Dunn.
Yeah, I don't know if he's done, but it seems like it's very much leaning that way. And this is Andy bet the Raiders here.
Ooh.
Another small road favorite. I took him, not a big position, but this is a bet I made.
I lean that way also, but I didn't bet the game. Can you talk me into this? Seems like a good position.
I think Fulton still dinged up, possibly missing. It's not.
They just put their cornerback depth on IR. They're signing guys off the street who should not be in the NFL.
The injuries at the cornerback, pass rush has been really dinged up. Like we lost a piece before the season started. Bud Dupree has been dinged up. So they had 3 really good pass rushers. One's gone for the season. And Bud Dupree has been dinged up. Their secondary is absolutely beat up. We haven't talked a lot about Devontae Adams yet, but he's been fine. He's fine. And I think they're absolutely going to be able to expose this defense. I think this Raiders offense is going to look good. And then, if Lawan's out, they have the pass rushers to get after a bad offense. Honestly, this could be one-way traffic. This could be a kind of a shakeup near the top where if the Panthers don't fire their coach, he's going to get company near the top of the first coach fired talk as the Titans devolve into this team, or are they ever going to win a game?
No, this is the secret tank, man. They are eyes wide open. They are eyes wide open about.
I don't know how. I don't know about this front office though. Like, how do you appease? You still got to appease the fan base. Sometimes you just fire a coach to make the fans happy.
No, you appease the fan base by benching the quarterback and hang it around his neck.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe you get rid of a coordinator.
Yeah, that's not the worst idea anyway. They needed a good offensive mind. But no, you bench Tanny at some point here when they're 2-10 or whatever. We've laid all this out in the preview.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders is a good look.
You can do multiple paths to appeasement. It can be a multi-level appeasement. Oh, we got rid of the quarterback. We got rid of the OC. We're going to fire the coach eventually.
Yeah, this is a buy low on the Raiders, and this is a Titans secret tank going as planned.
Yeah, that like last week was whatever. That's whatever. Like, that's fine. Lose that game. But week 1 was sad, honestly. This team has been very sad on offense, and I like Burke. So
and they were a field goal attempt at the end of that game away from winning too, which is kicker got a bonus.
That's nothing to write home about, guys. So
they're gonna have an amazing pick next year.
Sell low on Tennessee, like Luna. That's funny. Yeah, this is. Yeah, not great.
All right, let's do an ad read and then let's talk about some more games. How about that?
Oh, look, you're reminding me to do an ad read. As No House Advantage brings you this podcast today. Play and pick 'em contest versus other people for the shot of winning $250K plus in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, earn points for correct picks, climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every day. You can do NBA, NFL, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Sign up now with promo code BetSperts at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app on the App Store to get your first deposit match.
Yeah. And if you want your ad read to be as perfectly, superlatively outstanding as that, by all means, reach out to us. If it's a 10 Miracle hair care product and you want us to
have a whiskey, a hair care product, a vape cartridge.
We'll read it. A vape cartridge.
I will
I only use maximum poison vapes or whatever that
King Venom vape cartridges.
King Venom vape, thank you.
Not a real product, by the way.
No, not a real product.
But no, if you do want to support the show, go check it out. It is a fun DFS app that you can download for free on your phone. And anything else, go retweet. Go follow at Deep Dive Pod on Twitter. Go retweet the tweet that just says week 3 is live. Go hit that. I want 10 of you to go retweet that. Hit some thumbs up in the chat. Follow us on this YouTube channel. Subscribe. That helps. It's all great. This is free. We love you guys. The chat's been awesome always. But yeah, any support would be greatly appreciated. And we'll move on to the last 7 games of... Can the golf chat buy an ad spot?
I know. I like Ryan Tannehill. He's a fart in the shower. There's no denying it. The 2022 Ryan Tannehill campaign is a shower fart. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Philly at Washington. Sneaky fun game.
Yeah, it is. Really fun one.
I want your take on the Washington offense right now.
Live motherfuckers.
And it's kind of a live motherfuckers. And I bet this over 47. Just right off the bat, hands up.
I like it.
I don't believe that the Eagles defense was that good. They did let Minnesota drive several times, and yes, some of it was low win probability situations. Mm-hmm. But Minnesota drove, and then Minnesota turned the ball over because Kirk Cousins peed his pants.
Classic.
And the Commanders, it's still Wentz, and maybe Wentz throws a touchdown to the wrong team. That's good for this too. Yeah, maybe he does a left-handed safety, but I really don't know how I have this total below 49. I make this total 49. I did take an over 47 at looks like I got it at Bookmaker. Nope, low vig minus 105 yesterday. I think this is playable at 47.5, 48.
Yeah, and
there's 47s out there still if you want to shop. If you like it too. It is a squirrely ass offense. Their defense, bit of a liability, especially for a team like the Eagles, where I don't think their pass rush is going to get home a ton.
Also,
and when it does, it's going to cause them headaches. I wouldn't want to be flushing Hurts out of the pocket. He is nasty with the ball in his hands.
No, this is Commanders or pass. This is over or pass. No doubt in my mind. Again, oh man, Xshesh is bringing up some freaking heat today. I agree with his point. I was going here. The Wentz's deep ball is solid.
It's kind of fun.
It's solid. And
they're
he's
another
got
team that has a
receivers that
fun
can,
rookie.
they have receivers that are legit. They can make those plays. And as good at, the Eagles secondary shored up some weaknesses this season with the Bradbury and, adding Bradbury to Slay. But to me, that's still a unit that is great at covering the short stuff and can be burned. I think that Eagles unit can be burned. Absolutely. And this is going to be the first time that they are truly tested with an arm that can make that deep pass. I like your overlook.
Lipscomb points out a good point too. I wasn't going to say it as eloquently as this, but a soft zone is not going to be what keeps the Eagles out of the end zone. I think the Eagles score quite a few here. It's going to be tough to keep the Commanders out of the back door because, like you said, as much as we've shat on Wentz, it's still a big arm. He still has the receivers. He has a couple of backs.
Philly has the best offensive line. Philly's wide receivers match up well against the secondary. Yeah, there's going to be points in this one. And there's going to be, I think there's going to be points in both halves. Usually you kind of pass on an over with an Eagles game. At least I do. I tend to pass on those because
you can have a scoreless second half.
Have a scoreless second half where they take the air out of the ball. But Commanders are going to be taking shots if they're down. And Eagles, I think that the over doesn't hit here if the Eagles just get caught up reading their press clippings all week and their offense doesn't show up for whatever reason. But this Commanders defense stinks. So I think this is going over. I agree. I think it's ultimately a closer game. So this is.
I just wish Wentz had some motivation in this game.
Oh, you know who else is motivated? Jalen Hurts. He's returning to the scene of the attempted murder where Dan Snyder tried to murder him with the
stadium tried to kill him.
Yeah, stadium. Yeah, he
the stadium became sentient
to try to kill. Yeah,
like Christine.
Dan Snyder in his evil lair was pressing the button that he was trying to kill Hurts because he's a jealous, angry little man.
Washington. An absolute beautiful allegory for our government in action. They just zip tied it back together.
They zip tied it. Yeah, it was good. Let's move on. We agree on that one. Houston at Chicago. No opinion.
Wish I had 4 hands so I could give these teams 4 thumbs.
Rather than break this game down because I have no opinion, I laugh at somebody's going to try to sell this game as a Lovie Smith revenge, returning to Chicago, blah, blah, blah. I will.
If you had a team,
I will make this. I will ask you this question rather than talk about this game. You ready? People are starting to feel like the way that the Chicago is dealing with their roster this offseason and the regular season. So
I'm sorry, right in the middle of your thought. Shower fart game of the
week.
week. That might be a thing from here on out.
That's the thing now. The Bears have been criticized for potentially just trying to sabotage Fields, right? Like what they're doing to him is egregious. And, and people are like implying that it's intentional, right? The Bears had no choice with the way that they had to handle this roster. It was so devoid of talent and they were so devoid of future resources. They had to strip down to the nuts and bolts here, the studs. They had to strip it down to the studs. I feel like they're penalized. They're hurting themselves from being able to evaluate Fields and his development. Surely they're slowing down his development. Surely, but I look at like what happened, and it's stupid to even think of like 3/4 of a game and making that mean anything about Dak Prescott. But it feels like Prescott got developed within the perfect possible situation. All pro offensive line. Lots and lots of skill position players, young, fresh-legged, good running back. Like he got developed into a quarterback in like the absolute best possible situation. They give him the bag. The team now is strapped because of other terrible decisions they made financially. And you see like he may not actually have the tools to elevate an offense otherwise that doesn't have a good offensive line and good skill position players. Hurts is going to have to learn in the dark, right? And see, he's either going to do it or he's not. And so I think they're maybe like they may, have to make a decision at some point at Fields at some point, one way or the other. But I think developing him with no tools, no protection is, he's going to have to learn the hard way. And as they, use the assets that they've cultivated to try to, put good pieces around him, it may work out still. So I think it's still way, way, way too early to kind of assume that the Bears are out on him. What is your feel about quarterback development on either end of the kind of poll there?
It's so hard to. Again, I got mad because of the injury out in San Francisco. It's like, oh man, it sucks. We can't evaluate this guy because he's hurt all year. I feel like we're in the same spot with Fields. It's like, how am I supposed to evaluate this guy with coming in, trying to run a brand new offense, new coaching staff, and they've done nothing to address the offensive line and wide receiver deficiencies? How are we evaluating this guy when he has to play with a bottom 5 offensive line, a bottom 5 passing game? And I mean, actually the running backs are kind of good. We saw some nice flashes from Montgomery. Herbert's not bad, but like this offense is just so bad around him. It's hard to evaluate him. I don't think they're out on him because why would you be? They have to be in the same boat as me, where they're just like, I don't know if this kid is good yet. We need to get some pieces around him to evaluate. And that's what pisses me off. It's not so much like, why do you hate Justin Fields? Like, why do you hate yourself, Hallis Hall? Why don't you go do something? And I get it. You were in a weird spot with your cap and with the roster construction. Like, you couldn't do a ton, but now you've just bent yourself over essentially. Like, well, we don't know any more than you do because we didn't get to see him with any good pieces around. I don't think they're out because they're in a spot where they still have the rookie contract. And we've seen flashes of, nice decision-making when he pulls the ball down and he runs. I'd like to put him on the Eagles team. He might've had the same game Hurts did.
Of course.
Just get him some good weapons and
very, very possible.
So I don't think they're out on him. It sucks that they're going to wait another year to do it.
But what do you, do you get what I'm saying? That there may be a hidden possible positive at the end of the rainbow here by forcing him to develop with nothing.
No, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to put you, I mean, it's like,
there's probably another sport.
It's like Navy SEAL training. We're going to put you in the worst possible
Sure.
situation and make you fight your way out of it and swim with your hands tied behind your back or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you could do it, if you can show any glimpses of doing it with this band of, I mean, it's like the chick on Bad News Bears. I mean, she was a really good pitcher, but the rest of the team sucked. She still brought that team to the championship. They drank some beers.
Yeah. No, I mean, feel like
Tatum O'Neal.
If you're like a Brazilian soccer wonderkind in a village that doesn't have running water, but you learn to play soccer with a
rolled up ball.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, here's a soccer ball kid. And then he's like, I'm the best in the world now. Like there's an arc potentially where if he can learn under these conditions, then as you start to add pieces, then it's like bang, 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 like take off. Yeah,
just right? show me wax the car. Wow. And all of a sudden he's just doing it like next year. It'll be fun because I have seen. I'm not out on him at all. I've seen things from Fields. I've seen positives. It's just this team is rostered poorly. Okay. Although I have seen some nice things from the front of this defense.
Okay. Well, I'm rooting for another tie. Let's move on to Jacksonville.
And this under is live.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
It's probably bettable. I'm not gonna.
Jaguars are taking on the Chargers in the most interesting market of the week. It's finally back up at some of the market making shops. This has taken a while for people to kind of sift through the information. Justin Herbert, in my mind, is 75 to 80% chance to play based on what we saw today. He was doing some drills. Obviously, Chase Daniels took the reps with the ones. Justin Herbert's injury, a lot of Chargers Twitter was buzzing that he has played through ribs before. He got the shot and was fine. He actually played really well back in 2020. I think this is much more serious as far as injuries go. And I would expect that the Chargers, who are already handicapping themselves with their play calling, are going to tack even more conservative to keep Justin Herbert from an extended lengthy absence if this gets worse. Jaguars, on the other hand, are facing a very, 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 very good defense. the Chargers defense was better than the points conceded against the Chiefs, because 7 of those points came from a pick six.
Yeah,
and
they weren't allowed to run out on the field for that.
They were and they dropped 5, or they got flags and dropped 5 or 6 turnover worthy plays. This is going to make it tough for the Jaguars, at least a lot tougher than facing the likes of the Gus Bradley led Colts last week. This is an under in my mind, based on game state, potentially game plan, and in general, Jags running up against a good defense. Jags pass rush has finally shown life. I think that's worth keeping an eye on as well. Do you agree? And do you think 7 points is too many, considering the Chargers probably want to win this game like 13-10?
Yeah, this is an absolute step up for the Jaguars. Obviously, this is one of the nastiest secondaries in the league, if not the nastiest. They have Pro Bowl, everybody who starts in the secondary, their ceiling is Pro Bowl, and their floor is, hey, you're going to get a call about, the Pro Bowl or All Pro Bowl to All Pro. That's your floor and ceiling for most of these guys. They're all ones. They're all very good. Derwin James is amazing. They've put together somehow a better pass rush against, I don't know how you feel about this offensive line. Kind of a take it or leave it. It depends what kind of offense they decide to run, because you can mitigate a pass rush if you do things like Tampa Bay did. We just talked about that. It is, it's a couple of good pass rushes. And yeah, I think if you're the Chargers, like you just said, and you got a quarterback who's got a hurt midsection because of the rib cartilage, the costal cartilage being dinged up, I am getting Eckler the ball as fast as fucking possible. I'm handing off a ton. I'm 3-step dropping. I'm hitting slot receivers. Like, I don't think you're going over the top. I don't want him sitting back there for 4 or 5 seconds while we have this Jaguars pass rush coming at him. Fuck that. Like, again, this is what did Dr. Eager call it? Cross the street 100 times. That's your game plan. Yeah, just slow a lot of underneath stuff, because you have the pieces to do that. So maybe the Keenan Allen injury maybe isn't even that big of a factor if you're going to be, using tight ends. You're going to be using a lot of slot stuff. You're going to be throwing to Eckler. Like, it could be a low scoring game just based on the Chargers trying to just get through this one and not get Herbert killed. And the Jaguars are going to have their fucking hands full with this defense. Like,
would you play an under if there was no Herbert injury? 47 seems like
I think
the right
this
number.
Total would be a little higher if it.
Yeah,
it
would be.
I think it'd be 49.
Yeah,
and I think it'd be. The Jaguars' defense has been surprising in a couple of ways. Maybe, but again, it's a home game indoors.
If the Jaguars score more than 21, though, you'll be surprised, right?
Yeah.
Like, you'll be forced to really think about how to rate that offense if they score more than 21 against these Chargers, right?
Yeah. That'll put me in a pickle. I like this under. I'm not playing it.
Okay. I get that.
It's going to be a live spot. Like, if I see the game plan, like, I'm willing to take a worse number just to prove to me, like, this is absolutely the game plan. They're going to play slow as shit, and they're just trying to get to triple zeros up by like 5 points. That doesn't matter. You don't get extra credit in the standings for covering, guys. That almost happened one year where margin of victory almost came into play, where the first 4 tiebreakers were looking like it was going to be I believe it was like Carolina. There was a situation where they almost had a spot where they needed to score a lot in week 17. But no, this is a pass. I mean,
Rodriguez brings up. Yeah. We got to watch every snap. You have to have eyes on Herbert.
This is going to be on the big TV.
Must have eyes on
Herbert. As
Herbert.
the late games.
Yeah. Adam Rodriguez brings up a great point.
I bet almost all the late games.
You're gonna watch them all. Bummer. Adam Rodriguez brings up a great point. Something tells me Jags fans won't be taking over LA. This is probably the highest home field advantage the Chargers will have all year, I think.
That's a long way from Duval.
It is a long way from Duval, and there's just not a lot of Jacksonville people out here that I can tell you. Although it is going to be a beautiful Indian summer weekend in LA, and I think a lot of people may opt for beach over the traffic snarl around SoFi.
Trip over your surfboard, you California
douchebag. Is Peterson live for Coach of the Year? Asks Xjesh. Yes, that is a dark horse that scares me. I'm really, really, really. I nailed the Coach of the Year market preseason and adding Sirianni last week. I'm in a really good spot right now because I think McDaniel ultimately flames out of there. I think Dable does not belong in the discussion. Peterson, I'm uncovered. And it really, if he really does turn around the Jags, if they win 12 games, he could be the spoiler. And I'm a little nervous. About that. He's the one guy that kind of spooks me that I'm uncovered on.
Yeah.
Let's look at Green Bay, Tampa Bay. Good game.
We bet this on Sunday, and you can't get that number anymore. So I don't want to talk a ton about it, but 45 was much, much, much too high. We said it on the air, I believe. We said there's a possibility Mike Evans is suspended. That came to fruition. That probably is worth another point. This is dropped to 41.5, and there it sits, and that's probably the right number. Somebody pressed me on this game and said, if you had to bet a side, what would you bet? And it would probably be a plus. It would be a plus number on Green Bay, and I would not like it.
Tease the Packers if you had to bet a side, right?
I did tease the Packers.
Okay.
So I've bet this under, and I did tease the Packers with the next game on the slate with Atlanta. Just spoiler alert. This is a nice teaser spot for Green Bay. Tampa Bay is very good. This is a very good defense, but Green Bay in their own right has a very, very solid defense. It's coming together. They have a nice pass rush. Although I did talk about how Tampa Bay has been able to mitigate that with some of the play calling, but they also have a good secondary. I really think Tampa is going to struggle here. At the same time, their defense will just do the thing where they keep it in. They keep it in. They keep them in it.
Yeah.
That's my buddy used to say that when he'd get a new girlfriend, just gonna keep it in all weekend. Like, buddy, that's gross. Like, you have to.
You're gross. Yeah.
Shower.
Yeah.
But Green Bay, I think Tampa Bay's defense is gonna keep them in it.
Super soaker.
But getting a teaser leg here felt really nice with Green Bay. So I got a 7.5 mixed in with a Atlanta 8. It's my Stanford Wong, who, by the way, is a white guy.
Leg of the week.
Yeah, he is absolutely appropriating culture with that name change. Wasn't a big thing back then, but Stanford Wong, leg of the week, Packers plus 7.5. This is going to be a game where neither team hits 20, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awful hard for Green Bay to fall behind by more than 7 or 8 points. So hopefully we can get that one home 2 ways from Sunday. And what are you going to be looking for here? I'm going to be more intent on watching what Green Bay does on offense.
God, yeah. Oh, yeah. The big matchup of interest here is Buccaneers defense versus Packers offense. 2 years ago, regular season matchup, Packers came in white hot. Buccaneers absolutely just blew doors off in Tampa. Rodgers looked like he had never taken a football snap or made a drop back pass in his life. It was like a weird lopsided performance from them. I think 2 pick sixes from the Bucs in that game. That was Bucs at full strength defense. I think they are not at full strength anymore because freaking Akeem Hicks got hurt.
Sure. And that is another reason. It's another reason why I lean towards Green Bay.
Yeah.
If they are successful, I don't think it's going to be deep. I don't think it's going to be down the sidelines. I think it's going to be with their 2 amazing running backs, and that makes that even easier. Green Bay long sustained drives where they're knocking off nice 3-4 yard carries, short passes to the running backs. It's a good tackling team. You're not going to see what we saw with the Bears where Aaron Jones is running wild, but Aaron Jones probably has a pretty successful game. So it is a hard lean. I'm surprised you're not seeing a little more Packer money here. And truthfully, I think this should be maybe a flip favorite. But I don't need to bet this game 3 times.
No. I would tease the Bucs with the Packers though if you have no.
If it flips, I think I'm teasing them more.
Okay, no. So the case for the Bucs to win this game is straightforward in my mind. The Packers run light sets. They can be out physicaled, and the Buccaneers have a running back. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. His name is Fat Leonard. And he's a big physical dude. Lenny getting 25 carries in this game and really kind of trying to be the sort of the difference maker seems like what the Bucs will try to do offensively. The Bucs are getting all of this kind of scrutiny for what's going on with their decision making in terms of early down running, early down passing splits, because it's very different than the last 2 seasons. But if you're out there criticizing them, what are you looking at? This offensive depth chart is horse shit terrible. It is awful. They're down to their 3rd string center, and they're about to go out there and try out some off the street free agent at left tackle. Like, yes, Brady can get by this because he gets the ball out of his hands in 2 seconds, but it's still not going to look good. And who is Brady throwing to now? Is Julio Jones going to be available? Probably not. Is Godwin going to be available? Definitely not. Is Evans going to be available? No, he's suspended. Like, you are down to option 4, 5, and 6 now in the passing game. And this like the Tampa Bay offense ought to be rated 28th in the NFL, even with Tom Brady at quarterback, which is crazy. This is probably the lowest any offense should be rated with Tom Brady at quarterback, just because of what's around him. I do think that they do run
but
heavy.
When they get fully healthy,
yeah, they're going to be amazing. Yes. Yeah. But they do match up well with what a simplified run heavy approach should do, because the Packers can be out physical. Like, if that's what it ultimately is, it should work. Packers on the other end,
receiver.
Cole Beasley
landing in Florida. I mean, that's where that guy belonged all along.
Who would have guessed? In Tampa, Florida. Huh.
He somehow voted for DeSantis while living in New York.
I will say this: the Packers offense, they did not answer any questions to me against the Bears. They still have huge issues going on with the wide receiver chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, with what they want to do. And you make a good point. Like, I can't bet the Buccaneers, because without Akeem Hicks, now all of a sudden this vaunted all-universe best ever type of run defense the Buccaneers have had over the last couple of years, now it has it's got a chink in the armor. And so Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon should have decent days, at least in terms of between the 20s.
I think every running back who's going to be on the field that day is going to have a good day.
Yeah, hopefully. There's been a little bit of momentum to the over here.
Well, it dropped a lot.
Yeah, it dropped a lot. There was buyback. I don't really read much signal into that.
And somebody who got maybe an early 48, 47, Great. If it hits 41, I'm absolutely shooting for that middle. That's massive.
Sure.
So. All right. Yeah, we're on the under. I like Green Bay. I teased Green Bay, and I teased them with the next game, Hotlanta, as Dan likes to call it. The Atlanta Falcons are power ranked in the bottom 5, and I have them as clearly the better team in this game. A tough place to play, yes, but we did mention this on the Sunday pod, and plenty of people came through, including our good friend, the Brisket, I got to meet that guy.
I didn't get to meet him. I wish I
did. We got to do Vegas, or we got to go to Texas.
I'm definitely going to see him in March Madness, if not sooner.
Yeah. I'll be out there for March Madness. That'll be fun. Yeah. But he was checking like flight records. It was awesome.
That was great.
But Atlanta did stay on the coast, which made a big difference. We both bet them essentially on the money line. I think they win this game. I also teased them. I found a 2, which was kind of off market at that point. 2, I think it was a 2. One of these games was a 2 when I bet it. And yeah, this was it was Falcons 2. So I got Falcons out to 8. The Seahawks offense is my 32nd ranked offense, despite having DK Metcalf on it. It is turned into God knows what they're doing, why they're doing it, and why they're trying to shoehorn a rookie running back in, what they're doing with the quarterback situation. It's not like they can go to Drew Lock and get an improvement. And Mariota has played okay. London, good. Pitts, maybe use him. That would be fun. And I liked what they did at the running back. Even with an injured running back, I like the split between this Algier kid and Cordarrelle. Like, it's not a terrible offense. It's been squirrely against much better defenses than this. I love the Saints defense. They look good. Obviously the Rams are in a class well beyond where the Falcons are. And it was garbage time. They only scored 3 in the first half, but they stood up and they fought against a much better team and got back into that game, backdoored it. And yeah, Seahawks and Rams are, I don't know, like 25 spots different in their power rankings. I don't know why this isn't Atlanta's favored by a point or two. So I'm on the money line here, and I teased it.
I love it. This is we are getting very, very close to flip favorite.
Yeah.
Bookmaker right now has Falcons -109, Seahawks -111.
Seahawks won a game, man.
Only a matter of time. Only a matter of time.
This could be one of those Jaguars like they win the first game and go 1-16.
1-16. Yeah.
This team is
really
like,
bad.
That when they look back at, should we keep Hackett at the end of the year?
Yeah.
They should go back and look at the fact that they lost that game.
Yeah.
I think Randy, he's wearing too nice of a shirt to be a butcher, but Randy is a butcher's name. I love Randy's. Randy Mitchell says Atlanta is flip favorite in a few spots.
Okay. The Falcons deserve, beyond what you said, which I agree with, the offense being live against a bad defense is really enough of a reason to be excited about the Falcons in this game. But the real beauty is Falcons took one of the worst travel spots on the entire calendar and made it a good spot.
They took a bad and made it into a good.
They took a bad and made it into a good. They went from Atlanta to LA. They were going to have to go back to Atlanta and then to Seattle. That is tough back-to-back travel, especially early in the season. That was an instant death, sort of a scheduled loss. Instead, they go up to Washington. They're spending the week on the West Coast, a concentrated week of practice, which, if you have not already figured out, brings out outstanding performance. Just because the guys are not distracted. The coaches are, an 0-2 team forced to continue to build on what's working, continue to try to fix what's not. This Falcons team is like alt.
I hate this is one of my favorite spots. I'm trusting the Falcons. A coach we liked, I'm not so sure about. Marcus Mariota retread, a bunch of young players, but yeah,
look, man,
this is absolutely they made the right choice on travel, and it's a Seattle fade. Should we do a Atlanta tribute to list off all our rotation numbers to the tune of area codes? 483, 469. Matter of fact, 462.
I like it, man. That's great.
I don't even know if
Ludicrous.
Some of those are ones I bet.
No, I don't know. I don't think I did yet. But that's outstanding.
462 is the Patriots. Did not bet that. Matter of
Ludicrous
small cities.
Ludicrous had a moment, man. He was really freaking hot for a minute there. All right, let's move on. I don't have much else to add other than Atlanta is the play. Rams.
I didn't bet this one.
Why not?
I said I bet all the afternoon.
I didn't either, and I don't know why
this
not.
This is the evening game, right?
Yeah, shouldn't the Rams just?
No. This is the late.
This is the afternoon game. This is still afternoon.
I don't have a ton to say on this. Like the Rams look really good against Atlanta. They got it done, and then they kind of bottled it at the end. Like
yeah. Right. They didn't give you 4 quarters. Yeah.
If you want to be a successful they want to be a division winner. They want to be a high seed. They want to win, they want to win multiple playoff games. You got to be better than that at the end. You got to be better than that. Your stars have to be better than that. Kupp has to hold on to the ball. Stafford has to be not throwing some of those questionable balls. Lean towards like a Rams team total over first half. You're probably looking at like a Rams over 12.5, 13.5 first half. Like Rams are a hot starting front running offense. We didn't see it week 1. Obviously, that's a very tough ask. But against a bad secondary, a bad overall defense, I mean, Raiders did it. Why not Rams? So Rams team total over is probably in the mix for team totals special. And also, I would consider Rams first half team total over.
Yeah. I feel like the Rams are the side here. I didn't play it.
I think we're kind of prisoner of the moment of Kyler doing it again, right?
Well, the mental scars of losing that under, thanks to total in at 52. I didn't get the best of the number, which already annoyed me. But the fact that it was a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and then a fumble recovery for a fucking touchdown after there was both teams had possession and a field goal wins it. Like, that is just like, it's wildly improbable that total hit. Most absurd total decision of the season, as far as I can tell you. No business going over. But that aside, the Cardinals, I feel like it was such an obvious, easy, awesome moneymaker week 1 betting against them because of the state they were in. And they're going to continue to get pieces back healthy little by little, right? Until Hopkins comes back, and then they're going to be kind of complete as far as the team goes. And like at some point, like they're going to sneak up on us and be like, oh yeah, you thought we were bottom. We're actually top. Whatever. You thought we were bottom. You thought we were bottom 12. We're top 12, right? And I am prepared for that to happen, and I don't want to be stuck holding a bag betting against them because whatever.
And I think that's why I kind of avoided them on full season props, full season fades, because they will continue to improve. I still don't believe in Cliff. I think they need to move on from that. Kyler with the right offensive mind is probably an MVP candidate. Like I honestly think Cliff's holding the guy back.
Too fragile to make it ever.
But I think they're able to work around that. Like, get him in the weight room, call plays where he's not getting hit, call runs where he can go out of bounds, and he can absolutely be in the mix. I'm not saying he's going to win one, but he should be in the discussion in the right offense. And Cliff sucks. So, and also, I don't think that guy hit him in the stands. I think that guy slipped. I watched the Zapruder film on that.
Oh yeah, he was just excited. He was just excited. He was excited to try to shake his hand or something, and he kind of accidentally slapped him, I thought. But if you want to ban that guy for life, might as well. It's probably an asshole.
I've been 86 from worse places.
You're no longer allowed in the Roomba. The general feel here is the Rams should score. Cardinals defense is still woefully poor in terms of ultimately how they're rostered. Rams pick their number. Rams team total over is, as you mentioned, first half is a good look. Full game is a good look. I think that's in contention for the secret pod play. I still like Pat Mahomes against Gus Bradley a little better, but Matt Stafford against time of his life is pretty good as well.
Vance. Speaking of Vance, make him dance. Not having his time of life. Nate Hackett hosting. This is a tough travel spot early in the season, but San Francisco here is clearly a much better team than Denver. And I get it. It's a road game. It's prime time. It's altitude. It's supposed to be a team that's playing better than they are. They did get the win last week, but boy howdy, I bet the Niners. I'm looking for my number on here. Yeah, I have a bad bet in my queue on this one. But I got a cheap -1. I don't know. Just everything I've seen from the Broncos offense is not using their strengths. Hey, let's throw it to the wrong parts of the field. I don't think Russ is like bought in at all.
No,
like he seems like he's like it's too early in the contract to mail it in, Russ. Like I want to yell at him. Like you have to try for a year at least. It doesn't seem like he's excited to be there. It doesn't seem like he's wanting to. You've seen that in the past where he's just. Every good quarterback has that thing where it's like, oh shit, he turned it on. He turned it on for this game. He is not even close to. He's not in the same room as the switch right now. He's dumping things off where we have receivers open. They're throwing to running backs way too much. They're not using receivers. And now we got a bunch of injuries for Denver. Now, I don't give a shit if it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is probably an upgrade. I don't know if you could say that mid-season. If Lance got half a season, got comfortable, maybe it's a downgrade. But early on in the season, at this point, I'm way more excited to put Jimmy G up in a road game, in a primetime road game at altitude than I am a young quarterback who's played like 3 games in the last 2 years. I think it's probably a plus for this one game that Jimmy G's at quarterback. Kittle's trending towards playing. He is absolutely undefendable when he's on. And so injuries are trending well for the Niners. They're trending bad. Judy's dinged up. Was there a secondary piece that was dinged up for the Broncos? Didn't practice
They
today.
lost Simmons and Surtain wasn't practicing.
Yeah, Surtain's not practicing. Simmons is out, and Judy is hurt. So I don't see why this isn't 3. I make this 3.5.
I think it closes 3.
It should see some more Niners money. I will be terribly surprised if it goes the other way.
So speaking of terribly surprised,
I'm betting all these road favorites.
Speaking of terribly surprised, I bet under 43.5. It went down to 41 or 40 something, and then it got absolutely multi-clicked to death at Chris, and I didn't understand why. And it crossed 44. It's hard to cross 44. You have to have an influential account to do that. So that's not great feeling in my stomach. I'm like, what the fuck? Part of my thinking on the under was I agree 100% that the Niners ultimately can go further with Jimmy G than we were going to get with Lance this year. And it is an upgrade. And in fact, like in the limited snaps he had, he's already the highest EPA per play quarterback in the NFL, which is absolutely crazy. Because they barely scored whatever in that game. But he has shown a consistent ability to perform amazingly in the Shanahan system, and their ceiling is high. But the Niners did change the playbook for Lance this offseason, and now it's Jimmy time, who didn't get a ton of snaps at all in the preseason because of his.
He wasn't even on the same practice field.
Yeah,
he was off working. He literally,
yeah.
I'm not even like joking. No. He was off on a different practice field.
So a 1 week hiccup where everybody trying to figure out the changes and or Jimmy G trying to catch up to what they're trying to run now, like that doesn't feel great.
I know, but it's such a smart coach, such a smart coaching staff. I think
they just go back to the old things they were doing.
I think he just says like, I have a filing cabinet. Here's the game plan from when we played a similar team 2 years ago. Yeah. Run this, and you have a lot of the same positional players. You have a lot of the same pieces. You have a lot of the same coaches. Honestly, just go do this again. I think it's fine, and they have the pieces to defend what Denver could do well. Denver's only scored 1 touchdown in each game.
That is why I bet this under, and especially going up against the Niners defense, which looks clearly like a top 3 defense. I don't know what else you need to score.
That's a possible outcome.
The Hackett experience is so dysfunctional. It's just like there's a lot of speculation about what's going on, and Russell Wilson in general. Like, what is going on with that guy? Like, this is not a clean move from Seattle to Denver, and he is in some ways dictating what is happening with the offense overall, which is fucking crazy because your head coach is calling plays for the first time since 2018. He has relatively limited, help, just in terms of constructing a scheme. Presumably, he's sitting down with Russ every week and they're putting together the game plan, and then he's calling the game. This is just absolutely not the way to have a successful offense develop, bloom, blossom. And now here you are again, another primetime game.
I'm getting called out.
Oh yeah, well, Russ. Yeah, Russ does not. He's not interested in running anymore. He only wants to throw what he wants to throw. He tried it a certain way against the Seahawks. It didn't work. They went back to the other way last week. It's all of this is not a great fit. Out of joint. None of it looks clean.
Disconjointed, and not only that, but like the worst part of like every coach. It's like one of those memes where it's like, we took Andy Reid's time management skills at the end of half. Just like all the worst parts. They're wasting timeouts. They turned a field goal into a punt because they messed up the getting the plays in.
You are already fucked if you bring in a quarterback and you let him walk all over you as the head coach. It is already over. Like you cannot operate that way, no matter how big of a star that quarterback is. And it is even more tough when you had an existing group of guys who were brought in and/or drafted and developed in Denver, and then you bring Russ into the mix, and you're like, yeah, hey, it's me and Russ. Let's this is none of this looks like it will work in the long term. And if it does, it will be the exception, not the rule. Surely, they need a full off season to rethink everything about what is going on in this from a strategy standpoint. And the Broncos are a sell until further notice, particularly with the injuries. Their most important players on defense are besides Chubb, who's been
okay.
Their most important players are DJ Jones. He missed practice today entirely. Pat Surtain, he missed practice today entirely. Justin Simmons, he's on injured reserve. This is, okay. Well, we'll develop some, we'll develop some chemistry with our wide receiver room. Tim Patrick, injured reserve. KJ Hamler, limited in practice today. Jerry Jeudy didn't practice at all today. The offensive line maybe getting a piece back in Billy Turner. Congratulations. I don't necessarily see that solving anything. This is, Russ Wilson up against the San Francisco defense. This is a mismatch in its current form. I think the under is still bettable. I just don't know who bet the over and why, and that kind of spooks me. So
maybe they're wrong.
I hope so.
All right, we gotta hit a team total. Let's just go with KC over.
KC.
When does that ever let us down? KC over is the team total play. Yeah, the NyQuil thing. I'm mad about the NyQuil thing because I love NyQuil. When I'm sick,
Andy.
I take a triple dose. I mix it with Tylenol PM, and I wake up 14 hours later feeling better. The worst thing about I saw one of those.
Don't put it on your steak.
No, the worst thing I saw was these assholes. God, oh my God, Boomer Andy is coming out. But I pray for the future. These assholes making these TikToks, they don't even have kitchen implements. The person, they went and borrowed a pan because this person was flipping the chicken with their hands, and then finally it got too hot. They didn't own tongs. They're doing it with a hair straightener. There's a cord coming out of their tongs. I'm like, what is that? It was a fucking hair straightener. They didn't even have kitchen implements to do this right. If you're going to make a TikTok, go buy a $10 set of tongs from Target, guys.
I feel like that's how you go viral. You make it as insane looking as possible. And that was a
dumb pan too. Get some Calphalon.
No, the joke about the secret pod play, the next time that Mahomes doesn't hit his total against Gus Bradley, will be the first. So even if we lose this, I think I'll be 10-1 lifetime.
I'll be fine.
So I'll be fine with that. Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take some NyQuil the right way, without chicken. I might have some chicken separate. You can have them separately. It's fine. Good night, guys. We'll see you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Don't be a turd. Hit the thumbs up. It's so easy. So easy.
And if you didn't already know,
137 people watching. Made it, the two of you are on Twitch.
If you've made it this far, by all means, watch us on YouTube Live. Come and comment. There were 900 very, very relevant, funny, legitimate, good comments today. You could be chiming along as well. It's free.
If we get to 100 likes, I will make a TikTok cooking chicken the right way. It'll be the most boring TikTok, but I'm going to show you how to properly
guaranteed
brine.
Not to go viral.
Yeah. It's going to get 10 follows. Hey, thanks for the shout, Andy. Well, I shouted the Twitch people.
Yeah.
I didn't say your name.
I eat butts.
I eat butts. God damn it. Made me say your name. Sign collectibles. We're going with Hadid Maya.
Yeah, Beatrice.
BHM.
BHM.
Naomi's going to be, the price is wrong because of the location. She's still not in the right place.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that.
See you guys. Swear to God, yeah, 100 thumbs up, and I will make a chicken TikTok. I have
mid-season form, man. Hey, last time we asked people to do something,
time I made a TikTok,
did you see all those people that requested Discord links? There was 10 requests for Discord links.
Leave a comment on the YouTube, on the